Before Cardi B was famous, she would drug men and rob them of all their belongings, and this is how she would support herself. This isn't anything surprising because she admitted to doing this more than 3 years ago. And later she defended her actions and mocked the people who were calling her out because she drugged and robbed people. And a few days later, everybody moved on. Nobody gave a shit. Just imagine the outcry that would happen if a man drugged a woman. Oh, wait. Yeah, that did happen. Matter of fact, the entire fucking world was angry and got involved. And rightfully so. I mean, these two dickheads committed really horrible crimes. But so did Cardi B. These two guys both went to prison after lengthy trials because they both claimed they were innocent. But Cardi B multiple times admitted to drugging and robbing men. And since then, she's been scot-free and her net worth has gone up. If this isn't a double standard, then you gotta change the definition of that fucking word. When I was a kid, one of my favorite shows to watch was Pokemon, until my home country decided to make watching Pokemon illegal. When I was about 5 years old growing up in Turkey, I'd come home from school, immediately throw my backpack on the floor, and I'd sit down and watch Pokemon on the old TV. I had a huge card collection too, it was awesome. But then one day I come home to watch Pokemon and the show wasn't on. It was actually banned in the entire country. And the reason was a 7-year-old kid got out onto his balcony and jumped off. He screamed, "Charizard!" because he wanted to fly like Charizard. And unfortunately, that kid ended up passing away. And the health minister back then pointed the finger directly at Pokemon. And they banned the show immediately instead of, I don't know, telling people not to jump off a balcony or promoting safety nets across the country. And imagine the money they could have made from taxes had they not banned the show entirely. A lot of Turkish kids my age missed out on a lot of Pokemon for this reason. Now we're a little older and we have money so we can buy cool shit like this. Useless piece of shit in this photo is a woman named Marka Bodin. Marka was a teacher and just today she was sentenced to 60 days in prison. Her crime was that she had been sexually abusing one of her 13-year-old students for the past 3 years. Since the student was 10, she had been abusing him. She had sent the student a lot of videos, a lot of photos, and other things that a teacher should never send to one of their students. She admitted that her and this student had sex multiple times inside her classroom, and also multiple times inside her car. The prosecutors wanted her to go to prison for 40 years. But the dickhead judge only gave her 60 days. Imagine for a second if the genders were reversed in this scenario and Marka was a male teacher, and this male teacher sexually abused a 10-year-old female student for 3 years. That teacher would be locked up and the key thrown away. But this bitch gets 60 days even though she literally admitted to abusing a minor for a long time. I hope the other prisoners smash this fuckhead's teeth in when she's in there. An 18-year-old kid named Josh had just finished high school. He really wanted to play college football but had gotten 0 offers. So he sent an email to over 1,000 colleges asking them to please take a chance on him and let him play on their football team. He received only 1 reply from the University of Wyoming. They ended up letting him play quarterback on their football team, and he actually ended up having a really good 3 years with them. He faced a lot of adversity here, but he was always able to overcome it with his work ethic. And all his hard work had finally paid off when he got drafted by the Buffalo Bills in the first round of the 2018 NFL Draft. He was a very hyped up prospect, but little did he know the next 2 years were going to be very tough for him. He would have some really tough losses, but he kept working and kept working and kept getting better. And he started to win a lot of big games and blossomed into one of the best players in the entire league. And because of his skills, he signed a $258 million contract with the Buffalo Bills. And there's a very high likelihood that he's going to get the Buffalo Bills their very first Super Bowl ring. This homeless man went up to this guy's car and begged him for money. Instead, this guy offered the homeless man a job. He said, "Come do yard work for my company and I'll pay you $15 an hour." The homeless man refused the job and got aggressive and started to swear. This guy was having none of it. So he went home and made his own sign. One that said he offered the homeless man a job, but he refused. And then he stood behind the homeless guy all day with his sign telling other drivers not to pay him any money. And this actually worked. Nobody was giving this guy any more money. Guys like this are the reason homeless people get such a bad rep. Because this guy probably knows he can make more money by begging for it. This guy doesn't want a job for the money. He just wants the money without working for it so he can go and spend it on booze and cigarettes. And homeless people who need actual help are not able to get it because of guys like this. But the pettiness on this guy is unmatched. And I'm sure a lot of homeless people would have been very grateful if they got his job offer. This brain dead fuck literally threw his own life away, all because of gender pronouns. Jeremy Hansen was very angry, particularly at the Merriam-Webster dictionary, because Merriam-Webster added the pronoun they to their dictionary. And he also had a problem with this particular definition of the word female. Most people wouldn't give a flying fuck about this, but Jeremy took it very personally. This guy literally went on the Contact Us page page on Merriam-Webster's website and threatened to bomb some of Merriam-Webster's offices. And he said he was going to shoot their editor in the head. And because of these threats, Merriam-Webster decided to close their offices down for a few days. Police also got involved. And before you know it, Jeremy was arrested. He's currently looking at a 5-year prison sentence and also a $250,000 fine. Jeremy's going to go to prison with guys like this, and they're going to ask him, what are you in here for? And just imagine what they're going to do to him when he tells them he's in there literally because of fucking pronouns. He might end up adopting some new pronouns himself. How do vegans come up with such stupid ways to protest? Yesterday, a group of vegans put themselves into these concrete shoes and stood outside Starbucks holding up a sign because they're tired of the 50-cent upcharge on soy milk. These guys literally thought it was a good idea to pour wet concrete onto their feet, wait 1 or 2 days for it to dry, and then have somebody carry them in front of a Starbucks so they can hold a sign about how much they hate paying 50 cents upcharge for soy milk. Do you literally have nothing better to do with your time? Some of the idiot protesters couldn't get their feet out. No surprise there, it's fucking concrete. What did you expect? So ambulances had to be called for these guys, wasting even more taxpayer dollars. A few of them were also arrested because they shut down an entire street because of their dumbass protests. These vegans, through their actions, are making a dickhead company like Starbucks look like the good guy. And it makes me feel bad for all the other cool vegans I know. The saddest part, these dummies probably feel like they accomplished their life mission. Jim Carrey got a phone call and was told that he had 10 minutes to live. He was in Hawaii when this happened. His assistant called him and told him that Russia had just launched a ballistic missile which was headed directly towards Hawaii and would be there in 10 minutes. Then Jim Carrey and everybody else on the island got this text telling them to seek shelter immediately and that this wasn't a drill. Jim Carrey tried calling his daughter, but she wasn't answering. And upon realizing he had only a few minutes left to live, he walked out onto the beach and just watched the waves hitting the shore. And he thought to himself, hey, I've lived a pretty good life. And he spent the next few minutes thinking of all the reasons he had to be grateful that he got the chance to live this life. He realized that he had so many things that he was grateful for, and he couldn't help but smile even though he knew he was gonna die in the next few minutes. But it turns out it was a false alarm and there was no missile coming for Hawaii. When asked about this experience later on and whether or not it changed him, he simply said 8 words: when all is lost, then all is found. These are 3 rules that former presidents have to follow, and the last one would make me, and you as well, probably very uncomfortable. One is that the president is unable to drive cars for the rest of their life on public roads. Because the Secret Service is still protecting the former presidents, they don't want them getting in any potential danger on the road. One of the Secret Service members always drives the president around instead. Second one is that presidents must have their own presidential library after leaving office. Every single word they spoke, every speech they gave is written word for word in this library. Yes, it is an absolute necessity and a requirement for former presidents to have this. It's pretty much a public record of everything they've done while they were in office. The last rule is that you are never gonna be alone. Because you're a former president, you know a lot of government secrets. And the Secret Service has to protect you at all times. Wanna go for a coffee at Starbucks? Well, you gotta bring like 20 Secret Service agents with you. The time you might be alone is inside your room or inside your house, depending on how much security clearance they give you. Texas is the only state that doesn't allow death row inmates to choose their last meals. And it's all because of this asshole, Lawrence Brewer. He just had to go be a dick. That guy was on death row for murder, and he was scheduled to be executed, so they asked him what his last meal request was. And Lawrence requested that for his last meal, he get 2 chicken fried steaks, a triple patty bacon cheeseburger, a large ham and cheese omelet, a big bowl of fried okra, 1 pound of barbecued meat, 3 fully loaded fucking fajitas, a meat lover's pizza, 1 pint of ice cream, peanut butter fudge, and to wash it all down, 3 root beers. The prison cooks made everything he requested, and when they brought it to him, Lawrence was like, I'm good, I'm not hungry. He didn't eat a single bite before he was executed. Some Texas lawmaker heard about this and he was like, hell no, this ain't happening again, bud. And now Texas death row inmates have to have the regular prison meal as their last meal, all because of this no longer breathing uselessness.